we live? I don't know. Oh, we are live. Jenny, we are live. Welcome to the Renny Show, everybody. If you're watching, pop us a comment so that we can see who's there and get the conversation going. But yeah, Jenny, obviously, for those that don't know, Jenny and I had the opportunity to do a curiosity chat online in a group that we're both in. And we literally just had surprise questions, and we just had to ask each other the questions and just see what happened. We enjoyed it so much that we've decided we needed to make it a regular thing. So Rachel and Jenny together equals the Renny Show, your antidote to midweek indigestion. Not that, trademark and all that, we ought to be careful with that. But yes, so if anyone is watching and you have a question, please do pop it in the comments, and we might use one of your questions instead, because we've got some questions for each other, some surprise questions. But if viewers are putting questions in, then that would be even better. Oh, Chris Evans has joined. Hey, Chris, lovely to see you. Long time no see.
Chris Evans, not the Chris Evans,
not the ginger one. No. No,
not the ginger Chris Evans. He might be lying down having a cup of coffee after his breakfast show. But who knows where we may end up? I think that's the thing, isn't it? You just never know. The questions are really can be anything, can't they? So
absolutely.
When we started, when we had our curiosity chat, the questions were sent to us literally as we went live.
Moments before,
so neither Rachel or I had any clue about what the questions were going to be. And we had 3 questions each that we were to ask each other. And we thought that was a great format. So we've shamelessly, with permission,
from Taz and Asher. Thank you, Taz and Asher.
We have shamelessly borrowed that format because it works really well. And the questions were completely random. So sometimes they were about business, sometimes they were about life, sometimes they were about loves, sometimes they were about preferences, likes, dislikes, all sorts of things. They were completely random. As Rach said, if you've got anything that you think that would be a challenge for us to converse about, then you are very welcome. And if you're watching this on replay, then still put your questions in the is there a chat? Please send us your questions in the comments, because actually for future shows, because we plan to do this on a regular basis. I think, did we say once a fortnight? I think we said we were going to do it, didn't we?
Yes. Debs is there. Debs Carey. Hi, Debs.
Debs, this is so exciting. So without further ado, shall we get down to our first question?
Let's do it.
Who wants to go first?
Toss up. Well, you ask the question, so you can go first.
Okay. So this is a little bit of a cheat, but I know you've been out, so you might not have seen my post this morning. So I was talking about luminosity this morning, and the reason I chose this question is because Debs responded in LinkedIn. So we're talking about the many different words that people have to describe brilliance. A bit like Simila's 90 million words for snow. Was a really good book. So my question is, what word or words, you can have as many as you like, Rachel, what word would you use to describe your kind of brilliance?
Wow, goodness. Oh, blimey, that's a heck of a question to get us going with, Jenny. Wow. So daft as this might sound, the first word that comes to mind is actually purple, just because that's my favourite colour and it's my branding colour. I'm not sure what purple has got to do with brilliance, but it was the first thing that came to mind, I suppose. So it's what
my background this morning for that post was purple.
See, great minds, same wavelength, Jenny, as we always are. So it's what words do I associate with brilliance? Is that the question?
With your brilliance. So the post this morning was around the fact that, sometimes we don't think we're brilliant. We don't think we're sparkly. We don't think we're shiny. And we spend a lot of time wishing that we were like somebody else who we consider to be more shiny than we are. And my post this morning was to remind people that actually we all shine in our different ways. And Debs said that she felt she hadn't also considered herself as a shiny person, and the post had really made her think. And she talked
just
about
typed, actually, that it's synchronicity. Debs has.
And she said, "Glow, glow." Was the word that she would use to describe her, because people describe her as warm, and she is incredibly warm person, incredibly knowledgeable and warm, and a very astute businesswoman, but she's also incredibly so she said, oh, maybe less shiny and more glowing, and but glow is shine, isn't it? Glow, look, the warmth of a fire, you know, the warmth of a candle. It's that beautiful luminosity, and that belongs to her. That's her kind. So those words that describe your brilliance.
Okay. Well, having heard what you've just said, there's a couple of things that come to mind. The first thing, I suppose, is warmth, which kind of reflects what you've just been saying about Debs, because I like to think that people find me warm and open and easy to talk to and all that sort of thing. And I think, whilst it isn't necessarily a word for brilliance, I think congruence is something that came up for me, as in my actions and my words are aligned, you know, which is, I guess, is a how I might describe a form of my brilliance, if you like, if that makes sense. Not necessarily in a kind of appearance, but in how it comes across, which I think kind of reflects the warmth bit, the kind of, you know, the honesty, the truth behind what I do, I guess, is the brilliance. Does that make sense?
It does. And funnily enough, you might not be surprised to know that when I looked at synonyms this morning before I posted, very early this morning, when I looked at synonyms for luminous, lucid is one of them.
Okay.
And I think that fits really nicely, doesn't it, with congruence?
Definitely.
So lucid is a synonym for luminous. So there you go. Who knew?
Well, there you go. See, fantastic. Love it. Okay, so I guess that means it's now your turn. So bit of a random one for you. How do you relax?
Oh, how do I relax? I had a really, really busy day yesterday. And I've got a busy day today. This is my lunch. This is my lunch hour that I'm doing this in. So I have a number of ways of relaxing. I bake.
Oh, wonderful. And I've seen evidence of your baking. It looks incredible.
So I do like a bit of baking. I find that quite relaxing because of the movement, the kind of the stirring and the kind of and there's, interestingly, because I will say I don't really like structure, but there is a structure to baking, but there's that kind of, I describe it as the perfect combination of art and science, where they fit together. So baking is a really great way of relaxing. I I do love an audible book.
Oh, very good, very good. So I prefer books, actual books.
Yeah. So I love books. I like to read. But I've discovered that I really enjoy being read to.
Okay.
Because I don't have to think then. I can just, I don't have to turn pages. I can just lie, or I can sit there and I can just listen. And it's wonderful. So I really like Audible, and I'm listening to a very popular book at the moment, I think, called Lessons in Chemistry. I'm just trying to remember the author. let me find it for you. I hope it won't start playing on our thing. Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie, is it Garmus? Garmus.
Okay.
And it's just a fabulous story. And I've heard a lot of people talking about it just lately. And it was a recommendation from another LinkedIn colleague and friend of mine called Jen Hacken.
Okay.
And she recommended it. So I bought it with my credit on my credit day, and I've loved listening to that. I also really like going for a walk, but not by myself.
Yeah, a walk where you can have conversation.
Yeah. But walk and conversation. And it's a really grey, wet, miserable, very unspring-like day today. But I do like a walk. And I do like a good film.
Yes. Yes. Are we talking cinema or are we talking at home or both?
Both. Oh, I'm greedy. Both. Yes, I like. Although I did watch a film the other night, the new Luther film on. I think it's on Netflix, and it terrified. It was really scary. I had to watch. I had to watch an episode of The Great Pottery Throwdown to calm down.
Yeah. Oh, bless your heart. So no more Luther then, not on your own anyway.
I loved it. It was a really good film. But it wasn't what I would describe as relaxing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do love a good movie.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, lots of good things. Oh, blimey. I'd say quite a bit similar in a lot of ways. As far as books are concerned, I'm a bit well, you might actually say backward when it comes to books. I really do prefer a book, and I'll tell you why. A book in my hand, because when I've tried listening to things before, I suppose I've done it when I've been in the car, which maybe is the wrong time, but I zone out and stop hearing it. I guess because I'm focused on driving. So I don't know if when you listen to yours, are you driving or are you sat, deliberately to have reading time? Maybe that's what I need to try.
I listen before I go to sleep.
Right. Okay. So
I'm usually lying down.
Yeah. So maybe that's what I need to try.
I do, if I've got a long journey, I do listen in the car. And and people might not want to know this. But I, and then I have to remember where I'm going. So
yes.
So I tend to listen to it when I'm on a motorway, when I kind of know I've got a long journey. But then if I pause it, if I'm coming to a complicated bit of the journey, then I just pause it. So because then I have to listen to the sat nav man, because I am geographically challenged. So
at least you're honest.
I don't find geography easy. So navigating my way through, I'm okay on a motorway because it's straight most of the time. But when it says things like, head east or west, I'm like, I don't. Does he mean left or right? Is it
never eat sweet? That's how you remember it. I've never forgotten that from childhood. But yeah, so maybe I should try Audible, because I keep getting a thing, a free trial, 2 books on Audible, and I don't do it. Maybe I should, and actually put aside some time to try listening to a book rather than when I'm driving, and just see what happens.
I think it does depend on the person who's reading it, the narrator, because I did listen to a book that was narrated by the author.
Okay.
And it was a good book.
Right.
But not every author should narrate.
Yeah, just because they can write doesn't mean they can.
Doesn't mean that they can narrate. There's a reason why some people shouldn't be allowed in front of a microphone, either to sing in public or to narrate in public. And I won't mention the book because that would be really unkind. But it wasn't a great combination. So that was a time when actually I stopped listening because I couldn't bear it. Stopped listening, and then read it. which has happened rarely. But I've just also finished A Pocket Full of Happiness.
Okay.
Which is a lovely book by.
I'll write that down.
Withnail and I.
Oh goodness, I can see his face. Oh, that's going to bug me now. He was in the Loki series as well. Oh,
yes.
His name's gone.
And I'll find it for you in a minute, because it's so. I'll find it, and as soon we'll go. Everybody who's listening to this, or not listening to this, will be shouting at us.
Is that his book that he wrote?
Richard E. Grant,
of course. Is that the book that he wrote after his wife died?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it's a beautiful. It's a really beautiful book. It's beautifully written, and I'm actually going to see him live to talk about it. He's coming to Oxford. He's doing a book tour, I think.
Oh yes,
and
I think I've seen the advert for it, because on Sunday we went to see Tim Peake live, and it's organised by the same people. Yeah.
So I think it's and it's a combination of obviously his life. It's the love story of him and his wife, and how they met, and she was an amazing voice coach. So they have lots of fabulous sort of theatre and thespian kind of story, but also the underlying message is that that huge love that they had for each other, and she had asked him. That was her invitation. Her dying invitation to him was to find a pocket full of happiness every day.
Wow, lovely.
And that's what he's trying to do. And as he said, some days it's easier than others.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was a really lovely book.
Well, I've written it down. I've added it to my list of things to read.
And he narrates it,
right? So which I bet is wonderful.
It's just wonderful, and he giggles in it. So sometimes when he's remembering the story, you can hear the laughter in his voice. It's just lovely. So
I love that. Fantastic. Oh, right. I'm going to give that a go, and maybe I should get that book on Audible as my first attempt.
And it's not a long. I tend to look for really long books on Audible, so that so I can listen for hours. But that one isn't a particularly long one. So it will be a good one to start with, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. I will give that a go. But yeah, I suppose briefly in terms of relaxation, I do like, when I actually get round to it, a bit of meditation as well. I do find that super, super calming. And again, like you, films, escaping into a film where you don't think about anything else, really being in that moment, that's definitely something that I find very relaxing. So yeah.
Is it my turn to ask a question now?
Yeah, it is.
So this what I'd written was, what makes you really, really cross?
What makes me really, really cross? Right, I suppose there's a couple of things that come to mind. First of all, middle lane hoggers on the motorway. Can't stand it. Makes me really cross. I have to try very hard not to swear in front of the children if they're in the car with me. But the idiots that sit in the middle lane because they're either too scared or too not paying attention enough to move to where they should be, that annoys me. There was another thing that came to mind. That was it. Something else that I'm not sure if annoy is the right word actually, but when I see injustice, whether it's related to me or to other people, when I see injustices happening, that really makes me very cross and want to do something about it. But I suppose that's probably quite common for a lot of people. But I suppose that's the empathetic side of me, not wanting to see people suffer and done down just because of who they are, how they appear, what gender they identify as, or what race they are, what, you name it, whatever it is. That does make me very cross when they're treated differently just because of those things. So yeah. Right, so is it my turn to ask you then, or do you want to answer that question as well?
Oh, well, I could do. I was working in Doncaster yesterday, so I did a lot of train over the last couple of days. I've done a lot of train journeys, and the thing that drives me mad, not just on trains, but anywhere, is litter.
Right. Yeah.
People leaving their stuff on train seats, or throwing it on the floor, and
so unnecessary.
there's a fabulous lady or gentleman who comes down the train with a big bag going, "Have you got any litter?" And you put it in there, or you take it home with you, and I just put my there was, I'd had a packet of crisps on the train. And I'd folded the wrapper up really small and stuck it in my pocket. And I thought, well, when I leave the train, or I'll find a litter bin. It's really not hard, is it?
It's not hard.
And the lady came and said, "Have you got any litter?" It's always minutes in my pocket. But then when I was walking out of the carriage, and I thought, people just left their McDonald's meals, their half-eaten sandwich, their and I used to live in Scotland, and on a beautiful, beach, and people would leave their stuff. You brought it with you.
Take it away again.
Why don't you take it home? And I just, it's so simple. And when you're out walking, kind of relaxing, it's very unrelaxing when the people have chucked stuff out of their car window into a field or whatever. And it's just, I don't get it. I don't understand why anybody would think it was okay to leave their stuff on the pavement or in a bush, or I don't understand it. So if anybody could shed any light on that, I'd be really interested, because I just don't understand why you would do that, and why it's okay for somebody else to have to pick it up. And if I see somebody dropping litter, I ask them to pick it up.
Good. People are too scared to do that. We should do that.
I say, "Well, excuse me, I think you've dropped something."
Yeah.
I often get a mouthful, but I still say it, because it's like, actually, you've dropped something on the floor.
Yeah.
So yes, litter is my big thing, because I
just
don't
why.
understand.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right with you on that. Okay. So your next formal question then is, name one of your guilty pleasures.
I really love going to the races.
Oh, okay. Are we talking horse racing?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Horse racing. Yeah. And it was I mean, I discovered this guilty pleasure quite late on in life.
Yeah.
And I just love it. I have a little flutter.
Yeah.
And I
Did
have
you get all dressed up?
Oh yes, the whole
Fabulous.
the whole thing.
Fabulous.
Dressed up. It's a day out, sound like Wallace and Gromit. A grand day out.
Grand day out. Yeah.
But it is that whole thing. I love the I love, and I'm not, I don't ride. I'm a bit scared of the hugeness of horses. If Zoe listens to this, she'll be laughing at me. But I just love it. I love the whole thing, the whole excitement, the whole everything about it. Going for lunch, being in the grandstand, choosing your horses to bet on. And I remember once going to an evening racing event, and then they have a concert at the end. So I had Simply Red at the end, which was great. And my friend Lee and I were choosing our horses, and I have a very unscientific way of choosing my horses. So I either by the colours of the silk of the jockeys riding them, or the name of the horse, or if I've watched them go, I like to go and watch them walk around the parade ring. And I look at them and I think, oh, they've got a swishy tail, or they've got a little sparkle in their eye.
That's exactly how I would choose.
That's how I choose my horses. And I was talking to this couple, and the gentleman was saying, oh no, he said, no, you need to, you should be, looking at the racing post, and you should be studying form. And I said, well, my perception is that it's random. It's kind of random. And I get that, you can shift the odds a bit, but most of the time it's random. And you should just enjoy it. So he was studying very hard with his pencil and making all these notes, and then we went our separate ways, and we both did our own way of, and I, we won. We won a lot. So we won enough to pay for our tickets, to pay for our dinner, to buy an extra bottle of champagne. Amazing. And our taxi home. Well, that's and we were still quitting.
Yeah.
So we had a great time, and we happened to bump into him on the way out. And I said to him, oh, how did you do? And he said, oh, it wasn't great. He said 1-0.
Well,
1-0. And he said, how did you do? And I said, with my completely random betting tendency. And he went, yeah. And I said, we won handsomely.
Excellent. So
5K. Yeah. But yeah, I love going to the races. And I'm lucky because where I live, there's quite a few. Newbury's not far from me, so there's lots of. But yeah, I love going to the races.
Brilliant.
What's yours? Can I? What's your guilty pleasure, Rach?
Well, at the moment, it's Married at First Sight on the TV. I'm so ashamed. I've poo-pooed it for ages. My mum watches it, my hairdresser watches it, and they both keep telling me what fun it is. I'm like, no, it's ridiculous. Who on earth would do that? It's stupid. Well, I had a bit of free time, and I thought, I'm just going to have a look, because they've both recommended it to me. I'm just going to have a look. And I don't tend to watch a great deal of reality TV, but some of them, like SAS, what's it called? The name's gone out of my head, but the SAS reality program where they get people on to go through the SAS selection. I find that fascinating, because it's all about what when people's true personality comes out once they've been kind of broken down and put under stress, that sort of thing. Fascinating stuff. And I didn't think I'd be fascinated by Married at First Sight, but I was. Because some of the couples that are put together have an instant connection, and it's visible, because they've scientifically been matched with each other, or I say scientifically, based on science. But equally, you see some who, there doesn't seem to be any chemistry or gelling at all when they meet. But when you then follow their journey through the process, and they're given challenges to do, asking each other questions, or around intimacy, or around different things, meeting each other's families, that sort of thing. It's really, really fascinating to see what happens for people, because some people, they are so tied up in their own little bubble that they can't understand why what they're doing is upsetting somebody else, for example. So psychologically, I find it fascinating to watch. I also, some of them are a bit annoying, that's fair enough, but it is fascinating to see what happens to the relationships when they're put through all these different challenges, and to see where they end up. So yes, that's my guilty pleasure. My husband would be ashamed.
I have to admit to having watched one series. So having resisted and gone, I don't watch that. It's nonsense. The whole
exactly.
thing's
It's rubbish. It's utter rubbish. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I started I got sucked in by my daughter-in-law, and then of course once you start, is there one in Australia?
Yes, that's the one I've watched.
I think that's the one. I think that's the one. I think that's the one that I. That's the one that I watched. So you just get sucked in, don't you?
Yeah,
so
completely.
I absolutely. And for all the reasons that you said. So, no, I haven't watched one since the first one I watched, but I can absolutely.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Fabulous. Well, we've reached half an hour of the Renny Show.
So I know
that's flown by, but I think we should probably save.
We should probably this is our last question. I think this is we should kind of we should probably 45 minutes is probably 40 minutes is probably as long as people can stand. Do you think?
Yes, I would think so. Even though we are lovely, but yeah.
Yes.
I think everyone has
we're entertaining each other, if nothing else. So obviously, because it was the first day of spring this week, was it the 21st of March? I think it's the spring equinox.
Yes.
My last question is about what's your favourite spring flower?
Ooh. See, here's where it will become probably quite obvious quite quickly that my flower recognition is fairly rubbish. So my answer will be a very simple one. I think daffodils are beautiful. They are so beautiful. You know, if you get a bunch from a shop, they look like nothing. They're because obviously the buds are closed and they look like nothing. And you put them in some water and they just explode into this wonderful thing of beauty and colour and shape. And I just think they're fabulous flowers. So I'd have to say the daffodil.
Do you know, I also love daffodils. My youngest son and his wife got married in March, so spring. So on the first day of spring, it was their wedding anniversary yesterday. Thank you. They actually they got married on what was the first weekend of lockdown, so it was a bit stressing. So they got married again because we had to get married in an empty church the first time. So we're only allowed 5 people, and they kind of shut the door behind us. The legal minimum requirement. So they got married last year again with the whole thing, which was lovely. But the spring flowers in Fee's bouquet were just glorious. And I'm like you, I just go, oh, that's a pretty one. I'm not very good at flower recognition, but the reason I say that is because they were beautiful purple, purples and like the blues of an iris and blues and yellows. So I think for me it's less about what they're called, but it's more about the look, and I always think the colours of spring flowers are so vibrant, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So crocuses are kind of that. It's not, it's egg yellow, isn't it? Egg yolk yellow and white and purple of crocuses. And when I lived in Edinburgh, I used to work at the Royal Hospital for Sick Children in Edinburgh, and there's a big piece of, well, it's called the Meadows. It's a big kind of common piece of common ground, and in spring, it's carpeted with crocuses of yellow and white and purple, and it just lights up your heart, doesn't it, to see those fabulous flowers after the kind of. I'm not great with winter. I much prefer it when it's spring. So those beautiful colours, and daffodils are the same. Those really beautiful, and there's so many different kinds of daffodils.
So much variety in the colours of daffodils. It's incredible, really.
And tulips, the same. I love I've noticed and it might just be me, in the last few years, that seems to be more what I call frilly tulips.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
again, they don't look anything, they just look, buds when they're budded.
Yeah.
And then they open and they've got all these frilly bits. And
Yeah, my friend bought me 2 bunches of different coloured tulips a few weekends ago, and every time I went into the kitchen and saw them on the table, it just made me smile. Beautiful. Love them.
And so I buy myself flowers on a regular basis. I always like to have some flowers in the house, and at this time of year, it's so easy, isn't it? 'Cause you've got such a lot to choose from,
Oh,
and they're
absolutely.
so
Yeah.
beautiful.
I might go. Do you know? I popped in the shop this morning because there's a shop next to where I dropped my daughter off at school, and I walked out past the flowers and thought, "Oh, daffodils," and didn't buy any. I might buy some when I go and collect her from school.
That seems like a good thing to do.
Yes, it does.
So that must mean we're on the last question.
Yes, it must mean we're on the last question. So, what's your favourite colour?
Sorry, say that again.
What's your favourite colour?
Oh, that's so hard. What's my favourite colour?
See, having just rebranded, I'm sure that's probably quite a relevant question for you.
It is, and part of the joy of rebranding was that I got to have more than, because I had lots of colour, lots of colours in there. I think I've got about 7.
Excellent.
And they are, I just love colour. I think colour is really important to me. So colour is great. But I love, now I know I love warm colours are really great. So that kind of warm glowing, so it's that glowing colours. So oh look, I've got them on today. Pinks,
you have.
greens. I have pinks, greens, and again there's that infinite variety, isn't it? That's what I love. I think that's what I love about colour. I love purple.
Yeah.
Purple is my granddaughter's favourite colour. She told me yesterday.
Very good taste. Very good taste.
Yeah. Purple is that richness, isn't it? So yeah, greens, purples, pinks, blues.
Yeah.
All just, it's really hard. Turquoise, teal. You name it, I've got it. All in there. But I think it's it's the infinite variety, and it kind of linked back to flowers, isn't it? Because when you see the color combinations that exist in nature that aren't necessarily colors that you would put together, and then you see them in nature and you think, oh, that was fantastic. I noticed that particularly when I was on holiday in India, and the color, the vibrancy of the colors and the colors that exist in nature are just amazing, aren't they?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I love,
go out there, everyone, and go and see the colors. Go for a walk.
Yeah, go. Do you know, even when you go to, when you go to the vegetable shop, or you go to the supermarket and you look at, I'm not a lover of aubergines, but I love the purpleness of them, the purple and the green that go with that go together. And when you see that kind of great bank of vegetables, carrots and tomatoes and cucumbers and all of those different leeks, just all of those the colors that are in there is just amazing. And they always say, don't they, that you should eat a rainbow.
Yes.
I always like that.
Definitely.
It's not always easy when you're on a train,
no, because most of it's usually beige.
Yes, beige. Yes, beige
is part of the rainbow, isn't it? Somewhere.
I'm not sure beige is in the rainbow, no. But yeah, I'm going to make up for it today. But that whole, the joy of color, and seeing people in colors, and wearing colors, and it's so lovely, isn't it? I think that's what I love about summer, because people in the winter we kind of go into the sort of the navies and the blacks, don't we? When we wear a lot of kind of navy, black, grey. and then spring comes out and you go, oh, I can get my summer dresses out and I can wear colour. So I love it when people, red and pink and orange.
Yeah.
And I would never have worn orange until recently.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
That'll be working with Lisa then.
That will be working with Lisa. Yes.
Excellent. Well, somehow we've reached 40 minutes, Jenny.
How hard was that, Rachel?
Fantastic. Love
Not
it.
at all.
Yeah, not in the slightest bit hard. I feel like we could probably talk all afternoon quite easily. But I think, like you say, 40 minutes is probably enough for people to listen to. And we want to save something for next time as well. So if you've been able to tune in, then thank you very much for listening to us. We'd love to have some questions, some surprise questions that we can talk about next time. Questions on absolutely anything, as you've seen from today. It can be on absolutely anything. So if you've got any questions, then let us know. So thank you for tuning in, and Jenny, thank you for your time, and I can't wait for the next one.
I know it's just fabulous, isn't it? We really enjoy doing this, and we hope you've enjoyed listening, and that we've brought a bit of brilliance to your day, either when you're listening, whether you've listened live or whether you decided that you wanted to listen on catch up. I think we're on catch up, aren't we? We can do replay.
Yes.
We hope we've brought a bit of brilliance into your lives too. You've certainly made my day shine brighter, Rachel. So thank
likewise,
you.
Jenny. I always feel happier when I've spoken to you.
So we will see you. Oh. See you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, same time, same place in 2 weeks.
Fabulous.
All right, you take care.
Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.